When you talk about a production, it can be starts from your entry. Say example, we're talking about a parenteral where you are manufacturing a very sterile injectable. Now, this is a very controlled facility where certain grades has to be maintained. We need to ensure that it is meeting the criteria of the other locations. It's not necessarily we are sending our products only to India. We are selling our products to the other countries. So we need to ensure on those grounds as well. In terms of case study, I can say,
Welcome to Pharma Now. We are really honored to have you on our show, and we will just talk more about what the background you are having from your educational background till the professional ones, and now you are working with GMP practices. So we would like to understand the whole journey of this.
sure. So I am actually an Aussie Indian. I born and brought up here in India. I did my undergraduate degree in pharmaceutical sciences. I did my master in pharmacy with my pharmaceutics as a major specialization, which is also very industry driven. And after that, I started a bit of a career in industry here in India. But passion towards academia was there always in my heart, and that has taken me a bit towards the university setting. And I did then my PhD here in India as well from a public university, and then I got an opportunity on an academic position in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, where I had my first step overseas in an international education system in an international medical university in pharmacy. From there, I got multiple opportunities actually, and when I was researching and working with industry, I really feel there was a lot of biological aspects lacking in my research. That really made me passionate doing my second doctoral in immunology and microbiology that I did with the University of Newcastle in Sydney, in Newcastle in Australia. After completing my second PhD, immediately I got a position which is a continuing position with the University of Technology Sydney, where I'm currently actually as an associate professor in the area of pharmacy and leading most of the pharmaceutical sciences subject. The beauty with the industry side is I'm also a program coordinator of a very niche program. Now this program is the only program in a whole Asia Pacific region which University of Technology offers. The program is called Good Manufacturing Practice, and everyone knows the basic principles and practice of good manufacturing practice is applicable everywhere. I'm not only talking and restricting to pharmaceutical industries, it is towards the medical device, biotechnology, food industry, dairy industry, meat industry. Even your biscuit industry also follow GMP principle and procedures. Now this program is a very niche program because we have established this program at UTS with our industry partner C Pharma, which is a big consultancy company based in Victoria, and it do a lot of consultancy work of major Asia Pacific industries. The program had 3 different levels where we have a graduate certificate, graduate diploma, and masters in GMP. Masters in GMP is a 2 years degree, graduate diploma is a 1 year, and graduate certificate is a 6 month. Most of the students, 60% are international and 40% are national from Australia and New Zealand. Most of the students, those who come overseas to pursue that GMP degree with us, they are mostly absorbed across multiple industries in Sydney and across Australia.
So Cam, that's a wonderful journey that you are having and your specialization in GMP. We would like to know more about the GMP. Let's deep dive into it. So can you tell us the key principle of GMP?
So I think I normally say the GMP before I explain anyone, I normally say My Kitchen Rules. I don't know how many of you have seen that program, My Kitchen Rules. How you normally cook your food in a kitchen and how efficiently you cook your food in a kitchen where you maintain the quality standards. Now when I say quality, it is also in terms of the safety and efficacy. If your quality, safety and efficacy of your product is retained, and you produce that reproducible product using a standard method, and that is your good manufacturing practice. Now this good manufacturing practice is not only just restricted to the manufacturing. It can be related to your quality control, a quality assurance, and even in a regulatory aspect. How beautifully you do your work in a passionate way, in a quality way, improving it every single time is driving your good manufacturing practice.
Right.
Sure.
Can you explain how the GMP is different from other quality assurance things there are?
Sure. I think nowadays there are different different geographical location across the globe. They have their own standards as well. Now people talk about GLP, so talk about the good laboratory practices, and you talk about GMP. And nowadays there is another term called CGMP, or they call GXP. There are multiple terminology, but if we really look at the root level of this, it is deep diving into just maintaining the standards, the quality, the efficacy and the robustness of your product development is all about GMP. Yeah.
So what are the key documentation that we have to carry out while doing the GMP?
So the key documentation really varies from the discipline to discipline. When I say discipline, it means the area to area of the industry. When you talk about a production, it can be starts from your entry. Say example, we're talking about a parenteral where you are manufacturing a very sterile injectable. Now, this is a very controlled facility where certain grades has to be maintained. So how you enter into that facility is one of the main criteria which can even be documented, and that also form a part of the GMP. How you manufacture that, how you do the quality control check of that. So manufacturing have its own aspects. When it comes to the quality control, you are going to test that formulation whether it's maintaining its quality or not. So whether it is a drug content, whether it is a purity, whether it is safety in animals. So there would be a standard procedure, right? And now next time when you are going to manufacture the same batch, you need to be reproducible with the method you have used in a first instance. And this is a kind of what you document, and that's called good laboratory practices or GMP practices, or the documentation, which we even called it as a master control file or the document control file. Different industries have different terminologies, different regulatory body calls different terminologies, so it varies from a geographical location to a geographical location.
Right. So you have also mentioned plays an important role in QC, like the quality control. So while doing the GMP practices in quality control, what are the things that one need to take care of?
So if we really been only talking about the quality control area, I personally say, when you run a quality control, you always try to refer a standard procedures from pharmacopoeias. So if I am doing, say example, a basic drug, say paracetamol, and with paracetamol I'm doing its quality control testing, whether the drug is really pure or not, and an assay method development. So I would definitely refer to a certain pharmacopoeias. It can be start from an Indian pharmacopoeia to a United States pharmacopoeia, or even if I go to BP or any other pharmacopoeia. I need to make sure what the procedure and protocol I'm doing that, it is well documented. It is not only just I have to have my signature on that. There would be another person who can verify that, so that if tomorrow the regulatory body comes into the picture for the inspection, we have a proper evidence with us that we have followed a standard method from that pharmacopoeia that was validated in our laboratory and it was endorsed by another person before it has been reproducible for the same product multiple point of time. So second important thing in the quality control, if we talk about, is the calibration of the equipments. So if I'm using an HPLC, so I need to make sure how often it's been calibrated, and when we calibrate, we need to have that standard record of those calibrations. If any inspector asks about, can you show the documentation how often you calibrated, what are the parameters you actually has considered while doing the calibration, and how you have ensured that it is reproducible. And this is all about GMP here in terms of the quality control.
Yeah. So when we talk about GMP, what do you think, like at what level it goes hand in hand? Like at what all points at the manufacturing and quality control level that the compliances need to be followed?
So I think it is very much like a symmetrical circular fashion, which starts with the entry of your raw materials into your industry, into a warehouse, where actually you start testing of your pure samples. and then moving it to your manufacturing area and following all those GMP protocols, falling back to the quality control and quality assurance and coming to the market. And that loop again starts when your batch runs out and you do another batch. So it is a very hand-to-hand practice, and it is, I should say, a harmonized practice across the different the departments, or what you call the different areas in a pharmaceutical industry.
So, can you share us one case study or one example where, using the GMP, how the organization can be benefited?
Yeah, so the most important, the best example I can tell you here is the European requirements are very different from an Australian requirement sometimes. So the European agencies, even they come to the Australian facilities, even to make sure that we are following their standards. So it's not necessarily if we are sitting in a particular geographical location and we are only ensuring that geographical location's tick boxes. We need to ensure that it is meeting the criteria of the other locations. It's not necessarily we are sending our products only to India. We are selling our products to the other countries. So we need to ensure on those grounds as well. In terms of case study, I can say. So those, the regulatory bodies can come for an inspection to ensure that whatever been done is been as per their regulations, where it can provide an easy access to the products into the market, into that new geographical location, despite the product has been made in a different geographical location. The temperature condition is the best example. So the weather conditions may be very different in European countries as compared to our Asian countries. But the manufacturing of the product we are doing here. But when that product we have to just send it to an European countries, we need to make sure it maintains its stability profile. It retain its purity. It retain its therapeutic effectiveness. It retain its quality. And to do that set of thing, we need to follow those certain guidelines. Say example, International Conference of Harmonization Guidelines, which is ICH guidelines. So those are the things I should say are really important as a part of our case studies.
I think that's really wonderful, and the key insights you have given as really important. So, when you talk about the academia and when you are preparing students or the university people for follow these guidelines and all, so how the journey begins, how you groom them?
That's a very good question, actually. So, as I mentioned, I'm a program coordinator for this very unique program in a whole Asia Pacific region, which is a good manufacturing practice program. Now, this program is not just a program which only embeds the basic pharmaceutical sciences. This program, the way we have designed, is in such a way that from the day zero when the students step on the foundation of the GMP, we have even a basic subject called good manufacturing practices, or we call it as a GMP, international GMPs and quality assurance. This is a subject. Now this subject covers all the important guidelines of the different countries and how they've been embedded into that. Now moving forward on those in academia side, the student being trained not only just on that area. I'm telling you some really niche areas which are very tremendously growing in a pharmaceutical industry in the current time. Use of artificial intelligence in industries is rapidly growing. We do teach that. The process of validation principles and practices, we have a core subjects in that area. Just now we came out of a COVID situation and the biotech industries are taking boom. We have a whole subject on a biotech manufacturing where students learn how to produce those biopharmaceuticals product. Medical device was never been that considered heavily as it is now. They have been as strict regulations as we have with normal pharmaceutical products. Medical device, once it get into the market, implants, even an eye implant, that need to be thoroughly tested before they get to the market. We have a whole subject on the medical devices. Stability is in another area. We have a full subject on stability. Quality contamination control, which is a whole area in a sterile products manufacturing area. So there are different aspects, and that program in an academia side been taught to the student so that in depth, the student really engulf the important nitty-gritty and the important core area which is needed in the current growing and a demanding industry. In our program, the best aspect is we have 2 industry research projects in a second year, where students actually perform those projects in a company. And the feedback what I have gained from industries most of the time is why we would let your students go. We would like to employ them because we have given them 1 year in our company to do a project, and they have learned all the important aspects of our company. So we would really like to offer them a job. So these are just some parts of the program from an academic side, which is really important to learn. Like, it is so industry driven and niche.
Yeah, that's really true. What is a key message that you want to give out to the students who are aspiring to be into this field and who want to make the career into the GMP?
A very beautiful question, actually. So I know every single student have its own journey. Everyone comes in a first year of a pharmacy thinking, I'm going to be a pharmacist. But at the end of the day, that's not the end of the journey. Pharmacist can be a hospital pharmacist, a community pharmacist, or a person it can go in an academia in a teaching role. Apart from that, there is an enormous role in research. But we're talking here about GMP. So when you're really passionate and a career driven towards industry, that's where your degree or a knowledge or a skills or an attributes comes in the area of good manufacturing practice. There are so many programs across in India which people normally been delivering at the moment in regulatory affairs. They have masters in quality assurance, they have masters in quality control, they have masters in analytical techniques, but you really need to come all these things in under an umbrella which comes as a GMP. So if you really want to follow that passion and driven toward industry, this is a very niche course area. You really need to think of how you can embed that journey into your career path during your study and make your beautiful career in that area, growing in industry to different levels. A best example is in a regulatory affairs, you start as a regulatory affairs coordinator, and then you go as a regulatory affairs associate, and then you go on a senior roles of the regulatory affairs, managing the whole industry, registering your projects to sell it across the globe. Right. Good luck, students, and wishing you all the very best.
I think that's a very important message that you have given.
All right.
It's really